Hi, I am so honored to be speaking to veterans. Grew up in an Army family. Yeah, I did. My dad served 2 tours in Vietnam, and his dad fought the Nazis in World War II. Today, I want to take a moment to honor all the military veterans who are living in the District of Columbia. You fought for your country. You know people who died for our country, and still you do not enjoy the essential right to vote for representation in Congress. Free DC is working every day to change that reality. I am also here today to talk about a federal occupation, not overseas, but right here in our neighborhoods in DC. We used to say that we fight them over there so we don't have to fight them here. I am not sure when the American people became the enemy. I don't feel like I'm the enemy. I don't feel like my children or their classmates are the enemy. I don't feel like kids celebrating Halloween at Navy Yard are the enemy. But we are being patrolled by our own National Guard carrying weapons of war. We are under surveillance by immigration agents working in coordination with our own Metropolitan Police Department. My kids both attend bilingual charter schools here in DC, and since the beginning of the school year, our school communities have been on high alert for good reason. At the literal doorstep of my younger daughter's elementary school, there have been several traumatizing instances of local police working with federal immigration agents to detain people based on nothing more than the color of their skin.
Shame on you.
The image that sticks with me is the video shared by one mom who was walking her young son to school. In this video, a man runs from masked, unidentified agents toward her family. He is tackled from behind. He is placed in zip-tie handcuffs and roughly picked up and carted off to an unmarked car. Imagine witnessing that as a kindergartner. This type of scene is playing out every day in DC. It is un-American and unacceptable. Our Congress is currently in the process of reopening our federal government. This should be a hopeful moment for our country. But y'all know it's not, for so many reasons. Let me give you the DC perspective. The moment the House comes back into session, there are 6 anti-DC bills queued up for a floor vote. The worst of these bills, and believe me, they're all bad, would remove our duly elected Attorney General and give Trump the sole power to appoint a new one of his choosing. What do you think will be the effect on our black youth, already over-policed and under-resourced, of a Trump AG in charge of the juvenile justice system? What will happen in our immigrant communities when Trump can weaponize the AG to go after any perceived enemies with the full force of our criminal and civil laws? And what will the National Guard and ICE agents be called on to do in service of Trump and his personal Attorney General? A militarized, terrorized, terrified population in the nation's capital. That is the future that Trump wants for us. Ultimately, that's the future he wants to bring to cities all around the country. But at Free DC, we are working toward a different future. If we fight back, then this occupation of our city and our sister cities around the country does not have to become a permanent reality. Our vision of a safe community includes enough food, education, jobs, and health care for all. We reject the militarization and criminalization of our communities, especially our black and brown communities. We keep us safe. That's right, we keep us safe. At Free DC, we know that our community's liberation is a precondition for the country's liberation from authoritarianism. Therefore, we demand full control of our DC National Guard. We demand all National Guard troops off our streets. We demand the immediate cessation of MPD cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. We demand the repeal of the gross overfunding of Homeland Security. And at last, we demand statehood and equal rights for the people of D.C. When I say free, you say D.C. Free! D.C. Free! D.C. When I say free, you say D.C. Free! D.C. Free! D.C. What do we need D.C. to be? Free! Thank you.
Free D.C. and free America. So, our next speaker, if you're familiar with FLAIR, they were set up here since June of this year. In October, on October 3rd, National Park Services came out here with armed... Really? What about now? Well, okay. So FLAIR is the group that was running a few of these tents back here. And on October 3rd, armed federal agents came out here and violently kicked them out of their tents and stole all of their equipment, a complete violation of their Fourth Amendment rights. And this was under the direction of Senator Ted Cruz and the Department of Interior. They were permitted to be here, just like our veteran tent over there is permitted to be here. But this is what we're up against. We're up against a regime that doesn't care about constitutional rights. They only care about silence and free speech. And we're here today to say, fuck you, we're going to do it anyway. So I want to introduce one of the founding members of FLAIR. He's an Air Force veteran. Don't hold that against him. This is Randy.
Hey guys, how is everyone? Thank you for showing up. Like Jolly said, my name is Randy and I'm with FLAIR. Okay. So, I kind of want to talk about Veterans Day and what it really means. And I want to talk about can you guys hear me? All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Veterans Day and what it originally meant. November 11th, 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, is when men stopped killing each other. And I'm going to paraphrase Kurt Vonnegut here really quickly. Said men, their guns fell silent and they could hear the words of God. And I want people to remember that, about the futility of armed conflict, of war, and what it gets us, and what it does to us, and how it causes multi-generational traumas. That's right. And so, one of the veterans that I admire the most is my dad. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He was a victim of Agent Orange. He passed away a couple of years ago. But he never stopped. And he lived exactly how he preached. So growing up, my parents, I have 4 adopted siblings, and I don't know how many foster brothers and sisters, because my parents truly cared, truly knew what it meant to serve their community and their country. Right. And so now I try and take that here at FLAIR. I'm gonna brag a little bit. A few months ago, I brought my son here. And someone was coming around, and I had a veteran identifying shirt on. Someone said, "Thank you for your service and for what you did." And my 12-year-old son said, "What he did, he never stopped." And we're not going to stop. In fact, on October 3rd, when we were decamped at 5 o'clock in the morning, that day, I took people from the Samud Gaza Flotilla families up to the Capitol. so they could advocate for their families to be brought home safely from Israel. Okay? So we didn't stop. We kept working. And that following Monday, we went right back into the halls of Congress demanding that Trump be impeached, convicted, and removed. So like I said before, I was a little overwhelmed kind of thinking about what I want to talk about, because there's so much going on. But that's right out of their playbook. They overwhelm us, so we forget about others. We're not going to do that. We're not going to forget about our disabled communities. We're not going to forget about our black and brown communities. We're not going to forget about our queer communities. We're not going to forget about our trans communities. We're not going to forget about Ukraine. And we're not going to forget about Palestine. So I have a friend, my friend Danny. I like to talk about her because she's an amazing person. She's one of the strongest people I know. And so for a while she's been sick. And a few weeks ago she had to have emergency brain surgery. And I talked to her soon after that. One of the first things that she did when she got home was get online and provide some mutual aid to her neighbors. So Danny's been out here with us, and a handful of us since we started protesting outside of the Heritage Foundation in January or in February. And Danny's a musician, and so she was explaining to me that in the choir, when someone needs to take a breath and they need to breathe, others have to sing a little bit louder for them. So that's what we're gonna do here today. But not only do they need to hear us, they need to see us. So veterans, white veterans, we need to use our privileges in the right way. We're the ones that can get away with filming ICE and chasing ICE out of our neighborhoods. We're the ones that can walk into the halls of Congress without fear for the safety of our lives. We need to use that privilege. We have our trans communities being denied health care and basic human rights, and blamed for helicopter crashes and school shootings. We need to sing a little bit louder for them. We need to show our LGBTQ neighbors that they are accepted and they are loved just as they are. So if you're a fellow queer and you're hetero-coded like me, you need to speak up. You need to speak up for all of our misters, sisters, and other resistors. We have veteran communities whose benefits are being cut. We need to sing a little bit louder for us. We swore an oath to protect our country with our lives and defend the Constitution and the American people. As a thank you, this administration has cut 60,000 jobs from the VA, including the suicide hotline. They've started the propaganda of VA employees committing benefit fraud so they can go in and take our benefits from us. Veterans don't need a thank you for our service. We need you to be worth serving. We have our Native American communities whose land we stole, being denied equal rights and protections. We need to sing a little bit louder for them. For the 6,000 Native women currently missing. If they were white women, there would be public outrage everywhere. We have our Palestinian communities who have been crying out for 75 years about Zionism and the fascism. We need to sing a little bit louder for them. You know, there's a teenager that's still over there. He is still over there, right? Mohammed Ibrahim, 16 years old, Palestinian from Florida, being held in an Israeli prison. 16 years old, being held in an Israeli torture prison. So, when Flare formed, we put a lot of emphasis on that E, meaning everywhere. And we take it serious. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to sing a little bit louder right now, okay? Need you to sing a little bit louder for our trans communities. Need you to sing a little bit louder for our brown communities. I need you to sing a little bit louder for our immigrant communities. Need you to sing a little bit louder for our disabled communities. Okay? Free DC! Free DC! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Our day will come! Our day will come! Thank you.
Speaking of Palestine, do you guys remember recently there was an entire flotilla of boats that went to break the siege? The global sumo float. One of those boats was a veteran boat. Is everyone aware that that happened? Good. Because the legacy media doesn't report on this shit, so we have to. But the veteran boat, there was one guy on it, a friend of mine. I've been to several actions with him. He's always in the street. He's always raising hell, and that's why I love him. And he was on that boat, captured by the Israelis, and he's home now. So what we're going to do is we're going to welcome him and have a few words with him. Former Army Ranger, please welcome Greg Stoker.
Hey y'all, I hate public speaking, so I'm rolling up with my speech on my phone like a bad school kid. So hello, my name's Greg Stoker. I conducted 4 combat deployments to Afghanistan in the 75th Ranger Regiment during Obama's surge. And now I'm an anti-imperialist activist and journalist. You know, I wanted to speak to y'all today to try and encourage everybody. I mean, not that y'all specifically need encouragement. You're here and it's freezing. That now is the time to put aside some of our political and maybe social differences and organize as a coalition and start getting involved in direct action and advocacy. I know a lot of you guys are already doing that, but I know this is also sometime. I know a few people who are just showing up at these things for the first time. So, as you'll no doubt agree, we've come to a dangerous place. Institutions are collapsing, and the only thing that seems to be expanding is the the Department of War budget and the police state. So, I was, as he mentioned, recently released from Israeli military detention as part of the global Samud flotilla, attempting to establish a humanitarian corridor into Gaza. And we organized a veterans vote and delegation because as veterans, we know a few things. First, due to the grotesque militarization of our society, oh boy, we carry a lot of social and cultural capital. People tend to listen to us or take notice when we engage with issues or protests because we, have some amount of authority when we say point 2, which is whatever violence we do or support overseas almost immediately comes back home. The same technology, for instance, and spyware and drones tested and used to enforce occupation and apartheid on Palestinians are at a local police department and ICE center near you. The impunity of the global war on terror and the tactics and extra-legal violence employed by the IDF recently in Gaza and the West Bank have directly influenced the Department of Homeland Security and the deployment of the National Guard to our cities, because allied governments and institutions learn from each other. They empower each other and normalize each other. So, we can all look to the Palestinians, because whatever our government and the moneyed interests that control it are willing to do to them for profit, they're willing to do to you eventually. So the real estate interests signing development contracts to turn the Strip into Gaza-Lago are the same ones that bought up all the single-family homes during COVID, the neighborhood of Altadena after the California wildfires, and want you to sign a 50-year mortgage, rent until you die, and be imprisoned if you default or are evicted. They are the same interests that want to develop hundreds of miles of Venezuelan coastline, go to war for resources and land, and want every Gazan ethnically cleansed for the real estate investment of a lifetime. This is about privatizing land here and abroad, resources and labor, and you aren't in the class that profits. As things stand right now, this government has nothing to offer you but violence and empty promises about opposition to the current administration. For our politicians serve money, and the militarization of the police is the housing crisis plan. It's the cost of living plan. It's the health insurance plan, the student debt plan, and the climate displacement plan. If we don't get organized and start putting up a fight, your VA benefits will be privatized and controlled by Larry Ellison or some other techno-feudal oligarch that's looting our tax dollars. Soon there'll be no more tax money going to social programs, back to the people, only money for war and the security state and your own suppression. Because the next lucrative forever war is not to be waged in Iran or over the Strait of Taiwan or even on the beachheads of Venezuela. It's to be waged here against us, and damn aren't those prisons freaking lucrative. As veterans, we inhabit an entire spectrum of political beliefs, which we need to start working through and get organized, because this isn't a left versus right issue, it's an up versus down issue. And if you don't see that yet, and you're still only talking about Democrats and Republicans, then you don't know what the hell's going on in this world. So we are a very important political bloc, and let's get those Vietnam backlash vibes going again. And in the words of Malcolm X, we aren't outnumbered, we're out-organized. No war ever again for any of us, except, of course, class war.
So we're going to keep in the spirit of talking about Gaza and Palestine here. Over the last few months, there's been a lot of conversation on the internet about why don't these troops quit? Why don't they resign? Listen, that's a complicated conversation. If you haven't been in the military, it's hard to understand it. But with us today is a former Army officer who was the first Army officer to resign over the genocide in Gaza. That's a really hard thing to do and a big stance to take, and we want to make sure we're supporting him. Please welcome Harrison Mann.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me? All right, so I'll explain today why I'm a veteran and not a field grade Army officer like I used to be about 18 months ago. Starting in October 2023, I was one of, by my estimate, 2,000 or 3,000 active duty service members who went to work every day and supported the Israeli military as they committed genocide in Gaza and slaughtered innocent people around the region. And despite the evidence that I could see with my own eyes, whether on social media or classified satellite imagery, I was assured by the highest echelons of my military and civilian leadership that what we were doing was just and what we were doing was legal. But I knew it was wrong. And if you knew me in my Army career, you'd know that I was not the most stainless or upstanding, ethically or morally Army officer. You could ask my supply sergeant about that. But if I knew it was wrong, I knew the other 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines on this mission with me knew it was wrong too. But very, very few of us actually stopped supporting that mission, and even fewer spoke out. The only reason I was able to was not because of any special personal qualities I had, but because I was blessed with friends and family and people in my life who I could talk to, who believed in me, and who were validating my sense of right and wrong. And so, even though I didn't know what was going to happen when I resigned publicly, I knew that there were people who would try to have my back. Today, we have a lot more service members in the same situation that I was. When I resigned, summer of 2024, I wondered if we can get our military to go along with backing genocide, what else can we get them to do? And today, unfortunately, we're starting to have the answer to that. Over the past weeks, there's a young Air Force officer somewhere behind a drone station who's shooting Hellfire missiles at a fisherman in the Caribbean. We have thousands of members of the National Guard who've been deployed to our city streets. And yeah, right now they're just doing landscaping or guarding hookah bars on U Street, but we know they could be asked to do more. And we've heard the threat of invocation of the Insurrection Act and discussion of deploying the 82nd Airborne to Portland. When individual soldiers or junior leaders have to make judgments on their own about what's legal and what's moral, it means we've already seen the failure of a lot of norms, a lot of regulations, a lot of safeguards, and a lot of levels of the chain of command. But unfortunately, that's the situation that an increasing number of troops are finding themselves in today, just as I did. And unfortunately, most of them are not lucky enough to have the same support system that I enjoyed. Most of them do not know people in Washington, D.C. who can tell them, hey, I know a great national security lawyer. Hey, I can let you crash in my apartment. Hey, I will still be your friend and support you publicly if you decide to make this stand. Those of you who served know that when you're in this situation, there's a lot of sticks and not a lot of carrots. So I want to recognize the incredible work that groups like About Face and Veterans for Peace have been doing, trying to create this community for service members who are struggling like this. But they can't do it on their own. So everybody who's listening to me right now, here or remotely, whether you're a veteran or not, whether you're an activist or whether you're an elected leader, it's time to start reaching out to the service members in your lives, reaching out to those random National Guard guys you see on 14th Street, and letting them know not just that you want them to do the right thing, but that you'll have their back when they do. Because when you find yourself in the unenviable position of being asked to violate the law or to harm innocent people, as I was, it makes a world of difference knowing that someone's got your back. Thank you.
Okay, here's what's going to happen now. I'm going to give some closing remarks on this, the subject we're just talking about. We're going to do a quick transition of sound system to maybe another one that works better. But what's coming up next, I think we're going to all enjoy. Ben and Jerry's has partnered with us to do a free ice cream handout for veterans. Now, Ben was going to be here, but he got tied up because he's apparently a really important guy. So he didn't make it out, but that's okay. Ben and Jerry's made it out. They're setting the ice cream up right now. But we're going to have quite a few more speakers because I really think that today we need to drive home this point of veterans are against what's happening in this country. Pete Hegseth stood in front of I love that response. Pete Hegseth stood in front of a room full of generals to talk about Army standards. What a fucking joke. He talked about shaving standards, but those black soldiers that's targeting have more valor in their pinky finger than Pete Hegseth ever thought. Right now, trans service members who have served honorably this country and served more and longer and harder than Pete Hegseth ever dreamed of it is being kicked out. They have more valor in their pinky finger than Pete Hegseth has in his career. Pete Hegseth talks about soldiers as if it's a Hollywood archetype for the next upcoming action film. But those of us who have deployed and defended this country, those of us who have engaged with the enemies of this country, those of us who have seen what war looks like, knows that there's no archetype for what a soldier, sailor, airman, or marine is. It is simply someone who is willing to take the fucking chance to defend something greater than ourselves. Hegseth, Trump, and the entire lot of them don't know the first thing about anything other than themselves. So what I will not let happen on Veterans Day or any day is that lot of people preach to us about service and sacrifice. We took an oath to defend the Constitution. Technically, the president did too. Technically, the Secretary of Defense, I refuse to call that fucker the Secretary of War. Secretary of Defense did too. But I don't think they know what the Constitution says. So let me give them a brief fucking recap, and I'll close with these words. We the people. And if you think that we the people are going to sit by silently while you violently dismantle democracy and freedom in this country, well, stay tuned. Thank you guys for coming. We'll have ice cream set up soon. That means don't go anywhere.
I can't feel my anything really. Oh, another baby. Yeah.
The best.
Check. Check, mic check.
soldiers if they were deployed there. Yeah, I mean, are you recording? Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Like I said, the unfortunate reality is that we're putting more and more sergeant, lieutenant, private to make a determination about whether the orders are getting illegal. Well, I'm here for the same reason that I organized a Veterans Day this is a great testament of our society. We as veterans have a lot of faith in the capital where it's going to do a lot. And we want to get organized. What side of the water? What would you like? Fast, full price, mental issues, social issues, really transform this into yeah, I mean, it's pretty powerful. Are determined that every job is to die or to be claimed in your area. All of these things are intersectional. It's all based off the same thing.
We voted the monster back in.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Harrison Man. Spell? Harrison Man. I was a major in the Army.
If you like it,
Yeah, I mean, the experience I had is now getting universalized, which is being in a situation where you understand you're being asked to do something that's clearly immoral and probably illegal. For me, it was supporting the Israeli military as they carried out genocide. Now, for an increasing number of both active and guard troops, it's being sent to U.S. cities, or the threat of being sent to U.S. cities, where, for now, they're mostly here for show, but there's very clear statements from the administration that they're interested in using these troops for law enforcement, maybe to disrupt elections, at very least to intimidate their political enemies in cities and states. And so I've been disappointed at the lack of, I think, national political pushback to the way the military is being used right now. Yeah, I mean, just from the perspective of the military, it's going to accelerate a lack of trust in the military. Right now, we already have ICE and Border Patrol agents who, to a layperson, are basically dressed like soldiers, running around harassing and assaulting people. So if you have actual troops doing there, it means we're going to lose our trust in the military and also really lose faith in what's maybe the last non-politicized part of the U.S. government. But more than that, the danger is we now have not thousands, tens of thousands of government agents, but upwards of 1 million soldiers who can be used to intimidate local governments, disrupt elections, and otherwise police our streets in a authoritarian way, right? The administration has been pretty clear about why they're doing this. It's meant to be a punishment and a deterrent to blue cities and blue states that they don't like. Once you can kind of freely use the military to exert authority that way, you stop being a democracy. Yeah,
Okay, everybody check it out. Right in front of our Veterans Day.
I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of military leadership, especially in terms of the guard deployment, doing their best to follow the letter of the law and not getting ahead of it. So you have like the commander of the Portland National Guard, for example, issuing a memo to his troops that essentially says, we don't like this, we're going to do what we have to do, we're not going to do any more than that. We have a lot of governors who are starting to think, governors and state legislators who are starting to think about, okay, how can we restrict how the federal government can use our National Guard troops? So I'm not sure I quite accept that we're already in a position where the flag officers have agreed to do anything the president wants, even if it's illegal. The very frightening exception to this is the military buildup outside Venezuela and the strikes in the Caribbean. Every military lawyer I've talked to has said these strikes are patently unlawful. That's the way they say, so blatantly illegal that anybody should know it's illegal. So we at least have one chain of command and maybe a few hundred service members who are agreeing to participate in lethal strikes that they know are against the law. So I am quite worried that that spreads and that precedent, if it's not challenged, is going to show up in other parts of the military, including troops deployed to U.S. cities. I'd like to. I think we don't know what everyone's going to do until they're asked, and they might not know themselves until they're asked. I know there's a lot of consternation and some internal pushback amongst the general officers, and you saw the commander of Southcom resigned over disagreements about the strikes, and it looked like there was another 3-star at the Pentagon J5 who resigned for similar reasons. So I know we have officers who are troubled about this. What I'm not certain is whether or not, if Pete Hegseth fires enough generals, he'll find a yes man who agrees to go on with whatever he has. Yeah, I think if you're around my age, you joined to participate in a war on terror where we thought we were doing something good that served our country, and mostly were disappointed in that ideal. Right now, we are faced with a pretty black and white, right and wrong situation, with federal agents, sometimes backed by the National Guard, abducting people on our streets, and really a pretty obvious attempt to dismantle American representative democracy. And so I think there's a tremendous opportunity for all of us who joined out of idealism and had that idealism frustrated by the reality of the war on terror to find it again and pick up these opportunities to help our neighbors, help our communities who can't protect themselves from this administration. I think that's good for now. Thank you.
Actually, can I have you?
Stop, please stop. Please. Interrupting a Veterans Day event that is explicitly, I told my people to be peaceful. How am I interrupting the event? Are you a veteran? I'm not a veteran. Were you invited? Were you invited?
Oh,
what do I need to say? Yes. So I'm asking you to leave. It's a Veterans Day event. If you don't want to respect the veterans that are here to have a voice heard, then that's your choice. Right?
No, I respect. I'm
so
actually
this guy. So if you follow this guy, just understand he has zero respect for veterans. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
If anybody wants to speak, like I'm.
We don't want to. Does anybody want to speak?
welcome here. Leave now.
Guys, give up
leave
some space.
Now.
They do this to the protest.
You little Nazi, leave now. Leave now.
Free to leave.
We are all veterans of this nation, and we want you to leave now.
Don't even speak to these guys.
Leave now.
Am I not an American?
Leave now. You are a traitor, and you know it.
Go back to Europe. Hey, my man.
Go back to
English
Europe.
don't need encouragement. Let that clown go about his business. English don't need encouragement. Because that's what it is, total ignorance.
Why is
No, it's greed. It isn't ignorance. This is greed. It's evil. He knows what
Hey, I didn't address you. I didn't address you. I did not address you. I was addressing you. I don't need anything. Not one thing. I don't need any words from you. I was speaking to your man. I'm not engaged. I don't want to engage.
These Nazis gotta go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! 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 These Nazis gotta go!
How is he destroying the country?
Because it's fascist ways. I will say
these Nazis gotta go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! 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 These Nazis got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazis got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazis got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazis got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazis got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
Loving it and they're feeding it. They're so stupid. Stop. Okay.
I know her.
Your heart. What does your heart really desire? Everybody, you will not. We all have to get on one accord. I want the golden rule and the kingdom of heaven. I know what that is. I've been there. It's the break the deadlock. It's the tribes. When we were tribal. It's any community event like this. It's people get back to people. What truly does everybody want? What does your heart really want? This is what I want, people. I want the golden rule, and I want the kingdom of heaven, and I know it's right here. Something God, singing God. People want.
Guess what? I'm going to be here forever.
Dude, waiting for you here, man.
they say they go through things like fine taxes and stuff. Could I ask you? Yeah.
Yeah, you interviewed the other day. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. First things first, can I have you? And I know.
Yeah, my name. Gotcha.
Your same spell your name.
WILLIAMKELLY. William Kelly.
All right. Perfect. And what was your veteran rank?
I'm a combat infantry veteran.
Okay. What was your rank?
I left as an E4 specialist.
Okay. With the Army?
Army.
All right. Can you explain what happened right now?
So basically, these guys have come before. They're a right-wing media group. I'm not sure the exact name of them. But what they do is they come down to our rallies. They do things like ask questions such as define fascism. And then they continue to interview people. And a lot of times they'll wear pins of our cause to pretend like they're one of us. But what they actually do is they collect this footage and they twist our words and they make footage that tries to make us look dumb or tries to make us look unpatriotic. So we get kind of tired because they show up at our rallies like this and they infiltrate us and people don't know, so they go ahead and go forward with these interviews not knowing that their words will be twisted against them.
Why reject them so immediately and so hard?
Because this personal pair I know personally and they've harassed me many times. And honestly, I should have held back a little bit. I was a little upset. I didn't do anything illegal, but it bothers me that as a veteran of this nation, at a veterans rally on Veterans Day, that I have to be harassed by right-wing media that has never served this country, by a kid that cannot even grow facial hair yet, telling me something, twisting my words, even though I fought for this nation, even though I continue to fight for this nation. It's insulting. Just come down and join us. We're at Union Station 24/7. We need more bodies. We need more people to stand up against this tyranny we're seeing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Gunny, this guy's a right-wing Nazi. Yeah, you are.
Andy, I see his priorities. So much priorities. It's gone twice. They've got it. See, one thing that's made them reflect.
Supporter of